Fox 45 News continues to follow the back and forth over the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. In the last few days, multiple congressional Democrats, including Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, have traveled to El Salvador in support of Garcia's due process. However, the Trump administration standing by their move, claiming he had possible gang ties.
Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has been following this case. She joins us live with new information about a traffic stop in Tennessee. Mackenzie.
Yeah, Maxine and Mary, we know, according to a Department of Homeland Security report, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was stopped in 2022 by Tennessee Highway Patrol. And that's when DHS believes that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was suspected of human trafficking. Now we're getting new information about who may have been the owner of the vehicle he was driving. This Department of Homeland Security report shows in December 2022, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was stopped for erratic driving. The report says there were 8 other people in the car. Abrego Garcia told the Tennessee Highway Patrol he was coming from Houston and heading to Maryland. This multi-day trip was suspicious to the officer, noticing there was no luggage in the vehicle. THP tells Fox 45 News the traffic stop was in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is about 115 miles outside of Nashville. THP says during the stop, a standard law enforcement database check returned information that prompted notification to the FBI. Abrego Garcia was released with a citation for an expired driver's license. The Homeland Security report says Abrego Garcia told THP the vehicle he was driving belonged to his boss, and he was bringing the people in the vehicle to Maryland to work. According to Just the News, the owner of the car is a man named Jose Ramon Hernandez Reyes. And according to this June 2020 news release from the U.S. Department of Justice, Hernandez Reyes pled guilty to illegal transportation or moving of an alien. These new details come as Abrego Garcia's family maintains he's a Maryland man who needs to come back to the United States.
It is apparent that this man is not, quote unquote, just a man from Maryland.
Retired Sergeant Betsy Smith with the National Police Association says the other pieces to the puzzle raise serious questions about Abrego Garcia's time in the country. The Trump administration maintains he's an MS-13 gang member, pointing to the Prince George's County gang information sheet created following a 2019 arrest in the Hyattsville Home Depot parking lot. That sheet says the Chicago Bulls hat and hoodie Abrego Garcia was wearing, paired with information from a confidential informant, was enough to prove his affiliation. The gang sheet also notes Abrego Garcia was in the parking lot with 2 other men who were MS-13 members. Abrego Garcia maintains, however, he did not know anything about the gang. And in August of 2018, a man appearing to be the father of Abrego Garcia's wife's 2 youngest children told a Maryland court he was afraid for his kid's safety because she was dating a gang member, according to these court documents obtained by Fox 45 News.
These are what we call in law enforcement clues. Again, we can't arrest him for any of these things, but it is apparent from these circumstances that he either associates with or is a member of MS-13.
Democrats who have flocked to El Salvador argue this case rests on due process concerns. Attorneys for the Trump administration have said in court documents deporting Abrego Garcia to El Salvador was done in error. The U.S. Supreme Court ordering the administration to facilitate his return to the United States, but the president's border czar.
I think I got plenty of due process. He got more due process than Laken Riley got.
Doubts Abrego Garcia will come back to the United States, and if he does, he won't stay.
I don't think any court can order another nation, a sovereign nation, to take a citizen and ask from their country and their custody and get him back to the U.S. The best that could happen for him if he actually gave back to the United States, he will be detained or removed again.
While Abrego Garcia remains detained, his attorneys continue to fight the Trump administration in a Maryland federal court. Tuesday, the judge in the case called the administration's fight a willful and bad faith refusal to comply with discovery obligations.
And Mackenzie, Governor Moore is weighing in on this case for the first time. What is he saying?
Yeah, Mary, the governor took some questions from reporters today here in Annapolis at the State House. And like we've heard from other top Democrats, Governor Moore says that this case rests on due process, and due process rights are a major concern for him. I asked him about the trips that we continue to see from members of Congress to El Salvador and whether he believes that's an appropriate use of tax dollars.
There is nothing that is going to be a higher priority for me than making sure that our communities are safe and making sure that our society is safe. This is a case about due process, and it's just a case about, are we going to follow the Constitution or not? Are we going to bring him back to make sure he stands trial and has a judge determine whether or not a law was broken, and if a law was broken, then make sure there is accountability. But I believe in due process, and I believe in the Constitution.
But do you think that elected leaders should continue to take the trip at the taxpayers' expense?
Well, I can't speak to what other people do. I have not gone down. I'm not planning on going down to El Salvador, but I can't speak to what other people do.
Now, the governor says that he's been in contact with the Attorney General's office, having conversations about how Maryland can respond. However, the governor would not provide any specifics about what those options may be. I reached out to Attorney General Anthony Brown's office, and a spokesperson tells me they cannot comment on the existence or non-existence of any potential investigation. I reached back out to the governor's office to try and get more clarity and asked if the options he's referring to may involve economic sanctions. We're still waiting on those answers. Live in the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.